Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in to Mike Reviews It All. I'm going to jump right into this. George St-Pierre officially signed the agreement to fight Michael Bisping at UFC 217. I think we all knew this was coming. It was off again, on again. It was a convenient excuse to bump Tyron Woodley out of a super fight for fighting Michael Bisping after his performance against Damian Maia, which I don't personally criticize because I understand what was going on with the styles there, but it wasn't a fan-friendly fight, and I will agree with that. George St-Pierre, obviously, great takedowns, one of the greatest wrestlers in MMA history as far as MMA wrestling. 170-pound champion, 9 consecutive title defenses. I believe he retired on a 12-fight win streak after that controversial close win to Johnny Hendricks. I don't think he's going to want to strike against Bisping because he got caught against Carlos Condit and he got caught against Johnny Hendricks. Is he going to be big enough to take down Michael Bisping, or is Bisping going to be able to shuck off these attempts? You're talking about a small 170-pound fighter fighting a large 185-pounder. Michael Bisping walks around over 200 pounds. George St-Pierre could easily make the 155-pound limit, and he probably walks around about fight weight, 170 pounds. A lot of people say there's a benefit in that to not having to cut as much weight, but when you're going up a weight class, that's kind of null and void. Now, Michael Bisping, is Michael Bisping a real champion? People say, oh, is he a real champion? Yeah, technically, of course, he's a champion. He fought Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold underestimated him in their second fight. He kind of, he got caught standing there like a deer in the headlights, and he got caught. He got caught with a punch. He was standing there with his chin straight up in the air. Michael Bisping, though, is not a world-class championship fighter. I don't think, unless you're from England and that's your guy, and it's like this patriotic thing, I really don't think that there's anybody or very many people out there that are going to say Michael Bisping's a world championship fighter, caliber fighter, because he's not. He just got knocked out twice in the same fight by a 43-year-old Anderson Silva, even though that fight was not stopped incorrectly, and Bisping ended up with a BS decision, which has happened plenty of times over there in England. Glad this fight isn't happening in England. It actually is going to be in Madison Square Garden on November 4th at UFC 217. It's an interesting matchup for a lot of reasons, just because it's hard to say who's going to win. I don't see George St-Pierre mixing it up in the striking with Bisping, but if he can't take him down, that's where some problems are going to come in. George St-Pierre, obviously the more skilled fighter over his career. Can he overcome that huge size disadvantage on top of a 3.5-year layoff? That remains to be seen. I really think he should have had some kind of a tune-up fight, but that's not where the money is. And no matter what he says, he's coming back for the money right now. Everybody sees the money coming into these big fights. They're not taking the risky fights against guys like Yoel Romero and Jacare because the money's not there. The notoriety's not there for those guys. But the Michael Bisping, Dan Henderson rematch was a huge moneymaker. And Bisping got to fight a 44-year-old fighter, 44, 45. Dan Henderson, he's way over the hill. And that's his only title defense. So smart on him for getting this matchup between Bisping and St-Pierre. This is not about the best matchup and the #1 contender, but it's about the money fight. And these guys are out there getting their money. I don't know if it's what's best for the fans. It's obviously two well-known fighters. It'll create a lot of excitement. I hope it's a good fight. I don't think I'd pay for it personally on pay-per-view if I had to choose it over a lot of other fights like John Jones and Daniel Cormier. But it will be very interesting. Let me know in the comments whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Please give me a thumbs up, a like, and please subscribe so you can banter with me in the future and watch more of my videos. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great week, and hope you enjoy the fights.